Time.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Yes, that is right. You are watching Through the Eyelets. I know I took a little bit of a break. A lot of you have been going to bed very scared. Where did he go? What will happen to Through the Eyelets? Well, fear not. All that blank staring you've been doing in your monitor is now, it's worth it because we are back. We are revamped. I'm a little bit tired of the hometown hockey. I'm done with the sob
Me too.
stories, and I'm back for some real news, some news that you might have not heard of. But first, let me introduce my guest, the Lev Show, as some may know him. Others may know him as Levicci. He is the founder of G3 Technologies Limited, not to be confused with a few others out there like that. He's also the founder of Q Capital, that is Queen's Derivatives and Options Trading Society. And he's also a Blythe megastar. He holds the record for most icings negated in a single game, and he is currently still on the Quebec's most wanted list. So let's not use any government names. But Lev Show, welcome to my show.
I'm happy to be on, Barno, and that was quite the intro. And I'll just say that I did, in fact, negate 3 icings in a game while I was playing defense. That's hard to do.
But you actually got in a little bit of trouble for it, if I remember. I think there was a bit of yapping going on the bench between you and the coach. Do you care to explain what happened for us?
Okay, so I was just like negating icings as if it were my day job because I figured I don't like standing there. Rink was cold, right? Why stand still for a face-off when you could just beat the idiot to the puck, get the ref to wave it off, and keep it going? So I was negating icings all day easily, and then I get back to the bench after third negated icing of the game, and I just heard it from the coach who's telling me, "You're a D, you're supposed to stay back there." I wasn't having it, and in fact, one of the negated icings led to a goal that I scored. Remember, he was pissed at me for scoring a goal. Never heard of that before.
That was exceptional. Yes. Yeah, you did score that goal. Bizarre. But that's the difference between growing up and learning the game through Carnaval Valley hockey and playing it through normal hockey. That's one thing the coaches did not take into account. Very dated ideas. Icings are meant to be waived and played. So you were ahead of the curve, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Why let anyone
Yeah.
on the other team get comfortable when you could, as a defenseman, beat their D to a corner?
Yeah, and we ended up winning that tournament. So I don't know, winning's like important, so that's what we did. And there
Yeah, but
was
usually if you score a goal and then win a tournament, like that's kind of what you went there to do.
yeah, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and it was cold, and we were happy to get out of there unscathed with the trophy. But now we're doing things that are more worthwhile. We're keeping up. We're up to date. We're watching the fake news, mainstream media, and seeing what they have to say. And we're taking a whole new spin on it because there's a lot the world doesn't know, and there's a lot the world needs to know, and we're here to share that information.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll just kind of kick it off. So, as I'm sure you're all well aware of, there are guys like Jay and Dan. Luckily, they got gassed, but that's a publicity stunt. They're going to gas them to replace them with just another pretender. It's just going to tell you the generalized themes of what's going on in the hockey and sports world. But we're going to dive right into it, go behind the scenes, and we're going to tell you what's really going on in the world of sports.
Yeah, I actually like those guys. I mean, they're under contract with the machine, so they can't just blabber whatever they'd like. But I'm sure I'd enjoy a pint with those guys. They seem to be good dudes. But there's just other commentators that I'm not too fond of. When intermission comes, I'm usually switching the channel. So this is what you want to be watching. This is where you want to get your information, and we're going to take a deep dive into what they're trying to hide. There's a lot they try and hide in that swamp, and we're here to to unleash some things you might not have heard of.
And to drain the swamp, you're going to need a plumber. So that's what we're here to do.
That's what we're here to do. So a lot's been happening. Obviously, a lot of people have been keeping up with the All Canada division, which I think has been a success thus far. Very exciting seeing your favorite Canadian teams match up thus far. And if you're a Canada fan, well, sorry, a Toronto fan, you're happy because they're at the top of the league in points and they're way ahead of the curve in the division. They recently had a 2-game stint in Calgary where they came out very successful. They won both games. And they hung in there very well. But some very interesting things were going on that we all noticed. There was a bit of some antics going on with Matthew Tkachuk. Matthew Tkachuk, we all know him as the skilled, feisty forward that was drafted 6th in the Matthews draft, and since then has really proved himself to be an NHL regular and all-star. And I like to compare him to a modern-day Todd Bertuzzi, someone that can do it all, score goals and get in your face. But a lot was happening, and we saw it opening night. He slammed his knee in the back of Jack Campbell's head. We haven't seen Campbell since. Let's take another look at that. It looks on purpose. The second replay will confirm it. So here's Juuso Valimaki. Nice little low shot. There's a good tip.
Great tip, too. Great tip.
And then here it goes. Did he just – he hit him right in the back of the skull.
I've seen that before. I'm going to say that's intentional just because I've seen that exact maneuver. And usually it was actually crafted by a dude called Randy Orton. So that's an old school wrestling move that we just saw. That was intentional.
Yeah, I mean, it almost looked unnatural. Instead of just carrying the momentum, he brought the knee up and then he went back down. So clearly a staged event. He claimed, of course, that it was a classless move by the Leafs to claim that was on purpose. And he said it's classic and that that's something he would never do. But let's fast forward to game 2. Leafs win again. And what's Jake Muzzin going to do? Jake Muzzin's going to flip the puck at Matthew Tkachuk. And we know what happens then. Matthew goes absolutely ballistic. I've never seen this side of him. If he's not wearing skates, this is jail time, folks, because he is basically losing it on that Maple Leafs team. His helmet's off, his chewing on the mouth guard, and he is just wants a piece of a white jersey. He's over here. He's uttering threats. The other guys don't know what to do. They realize the game is over. 60 minutes are done, and they just want to leave. So here's everyone going off, and here's a little replay. So what happened here? Muzzin, hey, you want the game puck? It's all yours, right to the chest. Shot gets up, boom, right to the face, a two-hand. Hyman's in the mix.
Got a little bit of a face wash. Look at that.
Now he's taking it out on defenseless objects. So what's your take on all of that?
So I think that this is textbook Tkachuk, even though this is a new level for him. This is all within his realm where – he's playing the heel. He knows that it's funny when you're a good player and you're a little bit of a greasy character. He's accidentally on purpose a couple times a night trying to injure people and then saying that you're the classless one when you say that that's what he intended to do. So I'm not surprised. Is it good? No, but that's the type of player he is. It's going to make him really successful, but also he has a target on his back and he knows that the way that the All Canada division works, there's nowhere to run or hide.
Yeah, and one thing that's important to note is that on that exact play, when he was standing in front of the net, that slap shot actually hit him in the leg. Now, if you've ever taken a puck to the leg, well, you gotta understand that puck's coming at a fast speed. That's a good slap shot. So that hits him in the leg. That's pain. And then he's obviously upset. That's an inconvenience. So you take that into account. You take into account that they lost. You take into account that he already has a notorious temper, and now a puck is shot at him. So that's 4 reasons for him to go after them, and that's just more than an inch for Tkachuk. He was very emotional. And the Leafs, they just really didn't reciprocate it. They're not that kind of team. Muzzin's one of the few guys that would drop in. Wayne Simmons, if he was in the mix, I know he'd be giving him. He's been excellent for Toronto thus far. But yeah, Toronto, I mean, they did what they had to do. They won. They're not in it for fights. And you saw a very awkward moment where he took his anger out on I think it was the bottle holder. He smashed it with great force.
Smashed it hard. And I'm going to chime in right there because I'm going to leapfrog on your point there. I'm going to actually steal the point that you made and make it my own. That's what I do here. Right? That's why you have me on your show, just to steal all of your points. So I'll do that. So with Wayne Simmons having an excellent year, I think the Leafs a few years past, they had a great team, but there are a few parts that they were missing, and they neglected addressing the parts that they needed to fill because they kind of said, no, we can do it our way. But then this year, they're like, nope, we are most of the way there, but there are a few details to fill. So as you saw this offseason, they really addressed those great. Like, we were too soft, so we brought in Wayne Simmons. One, he's not no slouch out there with the puck. He's super talented. He can put up points. He can drive offense, but then also he's not playing any games out there. If a guy like Kachuk wants to be a weasel, he'll out-weasel him any day of the week. And similarly, we brought in Brody because our D was not up to par. Brody's really short up the back end. I'm really impressed with how he's been. Shouldn't be surprised because his whole career has been just such a strong defensive puck moving out first pass defenseman. But yeah, we've seen tons of that from him. That's elevated us. And sort of, what are your thoughts on that aspect, Barno?
Well, on an individual level, I think Simmons has completely revived his career. I mean, he was doing excellent in Philadelphia. Just a couple years ago, he received All-Star MVP. He gets traded to New Jersey. It doesn't work there. Traded to Buffalo, not the right fit. And he's completely exceeded people's – oh, he was a National. So he's completely exceeded people's expectations in Toronto. He had a 3-game stint between Calgary and Edmonton where he was scoring. Yep. And I've just been more than impressed with him. Brody's obviously been solid. Great pickup from the Flames. Very good two-way defenseman. A bit of an upgrade, I think, from TJ Brody. Sorry, not TJ Brody. Tyson Barrie. I think Tyson Barrie was not physical enough. Used too much of the stick. We're going to talk about that later with Chara.
Garbage in the D zone. Garbage in the D zone.
Yeah, so we needed a similar player, but someone that actually was consistent and could play both ends of the ice. And I think we got that with Brody. So nice to see Toronto playing as they have.
And a fun fact about Wayne Simmons, too, that a lot of people overlook, because he definitely brings other aspects of the game, aside from the toughness and the hands and the net drives and the down low in the corners, puck possession. Great cycler. But he's actually one of the best players still in the whole league when it comes to net front tipping. He's big, he's tough, he'll screen there. He won't care if you cross-check him. He'll call you names. Like, it's okay. You won't scare him. But then if a puck gets shot anywhere in his peripheral vision, he'll find a way to get a stick on it more often than not. Like, he's almost on that Joseph Pavelski level of tipping.
Yeah, and, moral of the story, success for the Leafs, anger and despair for Kachuk. Their existential angst continues. They had like some sort of team players-only meeting about things, and I'm not sure it has gone better. But for Kachuk, might want to spend his offseason in the mountains with the Shaolin monks because all those workouts won't account for a bad mental state. You're going to want to find your zen. So as we see, Alan is pushing up the wheelchair. There is a mute monk, and he's with his monks. And all the monks turn around, and they see Alan and his buddies. And you'd think it's going to be a nice scene. And then it goes straight to what we call violence. Yes, that's to the face. That's to the face. A great movie. Shout out The Hangover. This was the second installment. Was that the second movie?
Oh, all I know is the first one was great, but then like a lot of movies like that, they keep going back to the well, knowing what sells, and generally they don't exactly be as creative as possible to bring it to a new level. They just kind of like see that name and they just keep punching it until it stops giving them their lunch money. So it's hard.
It's hard to it's hard to build on that performance of the first one. But when you got Tigers and Mike Tyson, it's hard to find more props. So anyways, good there.
I have an idea if I could bring it up. I don't know if this is doable or not. Maybe we can only do it because we're kind of like an underground operation, if you will, right now. No government names, but I think there's a good amount of fans out there that we know that if we were to use one of those Reddit streams or find a way to, on one of these live streams, stream an NHL game, or even if it were like a junior game or a KHL game or something, and then we mute the volume and then of the stream, and then me and you maybe do some live commentary, because I think that people are tired of all the traditional commentary where they're just telling us
that dude, this is like behind the scenes.
It's a miracle that he plays games.
Dude, this is behind the scenes talk, okay? They can't know our plans, but a good idea. But moving
pretty good idea.
A great idea, Zach. Oh, sorry, left show. Well, moving to the other side of that division, all the way to the basement, we have the lousy Ottawa Senators. Yes, retro jerseys and a German superstar will not fill your woes. Here's the standings from a couple weeks ago. There was one win at the bottom. We were supposed to do this earlier. These notes are a bit dated, but you were busy. I get it. But what's been happening with Ottawa? Here's some goals against in their games against Vancouver. What's going wrong?
Okay, so first off, as you see there, you could cover three of their defensemen and four of their players there. Yeah, of their players in the D zone, you can basically take a blanket, an average size blanket, and you could smother the Ottawa players in most of these shots. They need to each take a man and have their head on a swivel because, as you see, they have no situational awareness, and they're all so close together, just easily being taken advantage of.
Well, it's sad because they had that awesome playoff run when Pittsburgh won it a couple years ago. They made the Final Four, and it's just almost seemed like they've been straight downhill since then. I mean,
choke organization.
They don't make the playoffs next year. Any superstar you can name from that team is gone now. Completely new team. And if you're Eugene and Pierre, what is going on? Why have you guys let this slip so easily? I mean, imagine owning this team and imagine managing this team. I just can't. So here are these guys, and terrible what they've been doing.
Yeah, and I'm going to say right now that it's a shame that Stützle is on that team because he's a hell of a hockey player, but you put a movie star around enough bad actors, and it's not going to be a good film.
Well, he's been really performing steadily. He's on a tear with goals right now. I think he scored in his last 2 games or so, maybe even 3.
Well, imagine if he was on a real hockey team.
Well, that's the problem, right? I mean, you get drafted high, you're probably going to a team that's rebuilding. In Ottawa's case, they're just not very good. You can only rebuild for so many years, like we're seeing in Buffalo, and eventually you have to play. So no real excuses for Ottawa. They've been super weak, not even competitive. The worst goals against in the league and differentiation between goals for and goals against, way worse than Detroit. So really nasty what they're doing. And I think I have a proposition. I think we have pay-per-view 7-game bloodbath with the Milwaukee Admirals of the American Hockey League, and it'll be the strongest to survive. I think they should get a chance to be in the league because Ottawa's clearly not making the most of their opportunity.
And I like that idea, Varno, and I think I'd add to it. I would tell the refs to keep the whistles in the pocket for that series.
Yeah, you want people to, if they're paying, you want them to pay for something that they wouldn't see if they're watching TV for free. So that's a good idea, I think, because Ottawa's been in the league for a couple of years now, and every game you watch them, you're disappointed. I mean, just a bunch of players that teams didn't want, and then they go to Ottawa, but it's not the same effect as Vegas. Vegas turns out good, and Ottawa turns out bad. So
there's no real. Said, rebuilding is a cute excuse until you realize that at some point rebuilding means that there's a building. They're just a retardando, slow build, really slow, getting nowhere. That's the Italian word for slow when you're playing music. Slow. Dorian and
part Italian, Levicci.
And I think I just want to briefly touch on the fact that Ottawa is one of the more embarrassing National Hockey League franchises in recent memory. Like they're on the same sort of level of embarrassment as like a powder blue jersey Atlanta Thrashers.
Yeah, I don't know with that franchise. I mean, what was I going to say? I was going to say something really informative, but they're an embarrassment, and I don't know what we're gonna see from them. I mean, they beat Toronto in the home opener, and since then it's just not been good. I thought the division could be more competitive for them, and it really hasn't. But disappointed was Ottawa nonetheless.
Are we off to the next topic?
Well, there you go. I mean, this was really interesting. Zdeno Chara, puck to the face. Didn't think the puck could go that high. Let's see this. This was pretty scary. Oh, that's a different video. We're going to get there. Here is the infraction.
That was also good.
That was also good. But Chara's down. Chara's down. And as you look closely, he actually creates a ramp with his stick, a 45-degree angle. The puck hits the stick, and it goes straight to the schnoz. Let's see this again.
Yeah, that's a guy that didn't pay attention in geometry class. Oh,
And you know what? We feel sorry for him. We actually do. He's a good guy. He brings the intangibles. The teams love him. Great locker room presence. But this happened to him their last playoff run in Boston in the finals against St. Louis. The same
he
thing
always gets
happened.
that walking stick out. The I can't do anything. I can't see walking stick, and puts it on a perfect 45. Whoop.
Well, he has no lateral movement. He's not able to keep up with the person's chest because he's stagnant and it's his stick that's doing all the movement. He does look a little bit bizarre. He can't move laterally. He's a straight up back player. He's the most regressive defenseman in the league, if I may say. The league is only getting better. Defense are more mobile, more offensively minded. And Char is the same player as he was in the 1970s. I mean, this is just outrageous. He's also so insubordinate that he opts out of wearing a visor. None of the guys in the league wear cages. They all have to wear visors, which is already still a hazard. I mean, the puck hits you here, it's going to hurt. Your face is exposed. But he's like, no, why not? I'm not going to wear anything. And that's what's going to happen. You're going to take pucks to the face, and by all means, it will hurt.
Yeah, I've had a long-standing theory that if a player is choosing on their own will to not wear any type of visor or facial protection, then you don't need to waste the paper of the IQ test. You already have your answer.
Yeah, a very low bar is set because how could you neglect the fact that accidents happen? Sometimes things happen and sticks go up and pucks fly,
Well, and then
where
you
you
take
could
it to
just
that
be
next
unlucky.
level and you realize that, as you pointed out, he actually made. Let's go live.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to part two. No need for an intro. Some technical difficulties, but we're back. We will never ever give up. No one will stop us. So where were we? We were talking about Zdeno Chara. He,
Can I chime in?
yeah, chime in, man.
So I just want to say that we're going to be doing an official complaint to higher executives at StreamYard, and we're going to have to look into this because there's some sort of a hoax that's ruining our stream, because we saw it. It's working great now. It was working great before. But even though both of our internets were good, something was going on at the StreamYard, but we've got that solved. So now we're excited to bring to you the real realities of what's going on behind the scenes in the big world of sports.
Well, I didn't want to say anything, but this feels like Watergate Part 2. I feel like Kelly Rudy and Dave Armstrong or whatever are spying on us, and they're messing with our things. So we're just trying to do what we do. We're using our First Amendment rights and expressing ourselves. And if they want to hack us because they're scared of us, fine. We'll fight back. But enough of the antics. Chara takes pucks to the mouth, and he doesn't wear a visor. I found this clip that is a compilation of him getting bodied by smaller players. This is to prove that he's inferior. I mean, here he is trying to explain to the refs why he fell. He's just kind of they're kind of the shoulder crying. Here's Ovi saying, "Hey, come play for us." That actually happened, and he's in their bench. How ironic. And then here's another infraction. This guy's my size. I'm pretty sure this guy's my size, and he goes right through Chara to the corner. I think we're gonna get to see that again, and we will. Here it is. Bye bye. Flies. Now, the title of that video was Chara getting what he deserves. I'll have to reinstate this. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he's a really good dude and has a great story of him coming from Czechoslovakia and making a name for himself in the show. But
and
good
he's really
dude.
tall still. Not good at hockey, but real tall.
He could have been a point guard, whatever, but chose ice and has been a legend ever since. But I think for him, I think it's time we see him actually go down the development ladder. Put your phone down right now.
No, I
I
was
think.
actually research for this as we're speaking. I think I'm going to pull up a good point.
All right, get your facts, but I think we see him. Most players go up the development ladder, whether that's through the East Coast or the American Hockey League, where they eventually end up in the NHL. But I think it's time we see Chara go down the development ladder. I think he's probably got a good agent, so maybe he can negotiate that his contract goes over. But I think we should see him in the coast, maybe for the Brampton Beast. Maybe see him play a little more up to speed because he's just not good. I mean, I put on the Bruins the other night. I put that they'd come back against Washington, and I just felt a sense of relief every time Chara had the puck on the stick and/or he was on the ice. So
I'll chime in just to say that he played his first NHL game in 1997.
yeah, his time is more than done.
And here, let's just pull up some of his numbers. So I just want to tell you guys, a lot of these points for him come from the power play. And we can really just look at the data and see how much he's regressing as the game's getting better. Not a good combo when you have the tall guy. Cool, like I get it. Like the kids like him, they're like, oh, look at the Czechoslovakian giraffe, right? Like that's cool. But it's not cool when you see that. Okay, so points.
Well, okay, just throw away the stats. We don't care about the numbers. The point is he's not great. But I mean,
But he
he got
hasn't. I'm just gonna say one thing though. He hasn't had a career year in points since 2007.
well, he ends up in Ottawa, which is ironic. I have no problem talking about
Or
Ottawa because I'm pretty confident
2011, sorry.
they don't have any. Okay, don't interrupt me and put your phone down right now. Okay, but I'm pretty sure Ottawa doesn't have any fans left. They didn't have fans during their playoff run, and I can imagine now they've all dried up. If you're a Canadian, you need to pick a team in Canada. It shouldn't be Ottawa, but
It should only be the Leafs, but
it should only be the Leafs. But Chara career is definitely on the decline. It has been for many years now, as you said, since 2007. Just a friendly reminder to the Sportsnet studio, this guy's on your panel. This is what he's capable of. He certainly would side with us in this affair. We know you're spying on us, and there's definitely a panel there that majority of the people still ride the booster seat to work. I mean, just a boring, stale panel. No real factors there. I like Bieksa. Anthony Stewart's not bad. What do you want to say?
I just want to say that I would love it if during the Sportsnet studios, when someone was in a fight and didn't belong, fight didn't go well, if Bieksa demonstrated with one of his colleagues how to do it, and he could say, "Yeah, you don't just stand there like an idiot getting ragdolled. You hit him with the Cobra Kai."
The Cobra Kai, the Netflix special. Well, there's no secret that Sportsnet had to invest in a safe space for its members. That's a small closet where people go when they're intimidated and need a chance to breathe. It's a little place away from reality because the real world, you're going to face some wolves and you're going to have to not cry about it and go home to mommy. But what a boring,
Yeah,
boring studio.
and in there, I heard that in the safe space that if they're scared of Kevin Bieksa going Cobra Kai on someone, that they actually give you PTSD goldfish.
Yeah, babies. We don't like the mainstream. We don't like the machine, but we stay true to our word. Next up, though, on the topic, something really interesting. This was a case a few weeks ago. The players were Alexander Ovechkin, Ilya Samsonov, Dmitry Orlov, and Evgeny Kuznetsov. The four of them were had to put on COVID protocol. They all missed different amounts of games. The person who missed the least amount was 4. And it was basically, I was reading, it's basically they were in a hotel room together and they weren't wearing masks. So I guess that's breaking COVID protocol. I have a whole conspiracy. I'll let you give some spill, but I think this is a big cover-up.
So first off, I think you can just put a blanket terminology to describe all these guys. You can just call them Team Putin.
Well, this is Team Putin.
Yeah, so Team Putin had a bit of an issue. They were actually plotting, having a meeting in that hotel room to talk about how they were going to hide the facts of Navalny from everyone. But instead they said video games.
Yeah, we won't get too much into that. That is a serious case. However, there's a rumor going around from the Chicklets guys that all the top Russian players, the Malkins and Ovechkins of the world, have a black platinum credit card to their disposal for bottle service. And apparently they like to go to underground KGB nightclubs and just unload on that credit card. So yes, Ovi is the advocate of Putin. That's understandable when you have a free credit card to your disposal. I don't know how you would not be. One of the brave souls out there is what's his name? Artemi Panarin is vocal against Putin and is actually paying attention on things. But if you don't believe us, well, here's a nice little clip of Putin awarding Ovi with the Cool Guy Award. All the good Russian players get this award, and it's an elitist.
Cool Guy Award.
Yeah, it's just an elitist ballroom thing. Here they're being happy. Hey, I like you. I'm going to promote you. I'm going to start a website, Team Putin. How original. Peace sign. Putin thinks it's hip, and he goes to sit back down. I mean, yeah, but it's it's whatever. Ovi's Ovi. He's a great hockey player. We don't subscribe to what he does because of his political views. We like him because he's a great hockey player. And
Yep.
that same applies to anyone else in the league who has an opinion. They're not there for their opinion. They're there because it's a great hockey player. Their contract says they're there because they can help the team. And they're not there to stir up discussion. So, not to get political, but it doesn't matter. But on a lighter note, apparently Putin's quite the hockey player. I heard he got 8 goals. Wait, what is this? He's not a good hockey player. It's all a lie. Wait, this is tomfoolery. What is this? Wait, they're barely skating? Oh, he didn't even slide.
This is the real Russian hoax.
Wait, these guys, they know what's up. They're disinterested. Here's Putin. He's selling, loves the crowd. Oh, no. Oh, someone's in trouble for that. Who put that carpet there? Yeah, someone went missing.
That person's going to go missing.
Surprised Guardian got footage of that. I thought that wouldn't be out there, but so that's a lie. Putin had 8 goals in a game. That's because it was fixed. No one was trying. Imagine working your whole life to be a hockey player. You make it through the slums of Russia. You're a star. You have money to your name, and you get a call that you're going to be part of an event where you have to basically give minimal effort and make the president look good at hockey. He couldn't skate. He couldn't shoot, and that was a little disappointing for me.
Yeah, so I think that the only really thing we could do with that is this is a segue into one of our later topics about a North American hockey player that went over to Russia and has really refound a kindling in his career, Brandon Leipsic.
Well, we'll get there. But before we do, the only thing I can compare that Putin video to is when apparently Kim Jong-il shot 5 aces in his golf debut, played at the Pyongyang golf course, which I actually looked up this morning. A beautiful course. Unreal Jordan Belfort like clubhouse, a little too nice for North Korea. We're not going to get into what's going on over there, but he basically came out and said he shot 5 aces and a 34. 30, he shot 38 under his first time golfing. So not only a great score, the best score of all time.
I believe it.
Well, so imagine this. So imagine you just had a tough day on the farm. You're with your North Korean wife and kids. You're enjoying a bowl of rice, and you hear on the mandatory radio, their radio has to be plugged in at all times. Don't ask me how I know this. And you hear, excuse me, can everyone stop what they're doing? Important announcement. Supreme Leader just shot a 38. He shot a 38 from the tips, 1 breakfast ball. Just thought I'd tell all of you. Let's all clap for Supreme Leader. Ridiculous.
I heard that they all have to clap too.
Like, if you're gonna lie, at least have a reasonable lie. If he's shooting like that, obviously we want a little bit of footage and want to see him on the tour. There's no chance he had a good golf shot. There's no chance his son has a good golf shot. And just a lie that everyone on the outside could see. And the scary part is the people on the inside, the real North Koreans, unfortunately, they don't know any better. And I don't think they know that he didn't shoot 5 aces.
So yeah, let's hop to the next topic. I think the next one's an exciting one for the fans.
Well, yeah. This one we're getting into deep waters. This one is you might have not heard this name in a while. Brandon Leipsic. Brandon Leipsic has found a home in Moscow for CSKA Moscow, I believe. He's really found his game. I believe he has something like 25 points in 35 games. That's just a guess because last time I checked it was 23 and 34. But he's been awesome. They're in first place in their division. They have players like Anton Slepyshev and Sergei Popov. I don't think that's his name, but I'm going to guess. And look at him. He's getting involved physically. Boom.
Boom.
That's using your frame. I think they're going to show it again. That was an awesome hit. So he's playing with an edge. He's getting fiery. And
I think he might have even been pretending that the player he was hitting was Tanner Pearson.
Well, let's first get your take on the whole scenario with Leipzig, just to update people, because I'm happy to see him doing well. I'm happy to see him building on his North American performance. But let's take the people back. So what happened?
So there was a bit of an Instagram group chat that Brandon Leipsic and a few of his buddies, some hockey players of different levels, were in. And one of the topics that came up, aside from a few inappropriate things, was there was Pearson Gate, where they were talking about the aesthetics of Tanner Pearson's wife in a not-so-friendly way. And then they didn't release it. It was a private conversation. It got hacked. It got released. And then it became a whole whole big story. And then the mainstream sports reporters basically forced that Brandon Leipzig get shunned and blackballed. So then he had to go to Russia. And he may or may not soon be getting the cool guy trophy from Team Putin. But we do know he's putting up some points for SKA.
Well, just to summarize it, so he was in a group chat with his buddies. It was on Instagram. It was a private chat. Nothing was disclosed by him. And he said some very controversial things in the chat. There's no denying that. There's no denying that as a professional, these are things that you should try to avoid saying. Unfortunately, his chat was hacked. I was upset to know that the hacker was not exposed to the world. If you're going to ruin someone's life, I think your name should get out there. So the hacker, who is now the white knight of social justice, will stay unnamed, so we'll never know who ruined his life. And Leipzig, of course, is made public enemy number one, banned from North America. Do you think there's a comeback story here? Do you think there's a possibility he gets uncanceled and finds his way back to North America?
Yes and no. Like, I think there's a possibility, but I would say it's maybe like a 25% chance. I said 75% that his career remains overseas or until it's over. Lucrative careers happen over there all the time. He's doing well. He doesn't have to deal with the sort of optics and the culture of being here and getting messages leaked. So I think that's the most likely route. But yeah, with the way he's been performing, there's definitely I'd say like a 20 to 25% chance of him making a comeback with the team, like maybe even with an organization like Ottawa, right? Like, they need to do anything they can to find guys that know how to skate without one of those red things at the outdoor rinks.
I just think it's so unrealistic to demonize this guy and put him on a crucifix because of some things that were leaked in a private chat. I mean, you've seen way worse scenarios over in other leagues and other sports where guys are still playing and they've done worse things. I'm not going to get into that. Mm-hmm. This isn't a headhunt. But, I mean, you know, there's no way there's guys in the league. Like, I talked to a guy who played with him on the Caps, and he just gave the media answer like, yeah, you can't do that, whatever. But I think it's way more deeper, and this is much more sinister than that. I mean, the fact that he didn't have a chance to really give a real apology and at least have some sort of redemption story, it's so unfair. And, you know, any guy's lying when they're saying that they haven't said something inappropriate before or something that they wouldn't say in the public eye. So I think Leipzig, no secret, was treated unfairly here. Again, I can't keep reinstating it was nice to see him doing well over in Russia because that's not an easy transition. But I think if you're looking from a business perspective, a missed opportunity by the league. I mean, in a way, they're actually protecting him because you keep him in the league. He's public enemy number one. Yeah, every game can be brought up as this like big event, like almost like a McGregor fight. Yes, again, you can make it pay-per-view, whatever it may be, because there's no secret that Tanner Pearson was a little bit offended by what he was saying. He didn't go easy on Pearson. I disagree with you know, Leipzig going after his teammates like that. You don't want to get too personal, but I mean, Pearson would have at him, and there's no secret that Leipzig is outmatched in that fight. Leipzig's not there to fight; he's there to get points when he can. So, you know, Leipzig was offending some. You know, he's talking crap about
the gambler, Evander Kane.
There's the gambler. That's right. But he was talking about Garnet Hathaway, Jake Virtanen. He said Jake Virtanen and his squad suck. So he was not nice. He didn't mince words. And, yeah, he didn't mince words at all. So it'd be interesting to see him still in the league fighting these guys and playing against them. I mean, hockey players are great. Hockey players, they probably it'd be like one fight and, you know, they'd call it even and then go about their business. But we'll never know because Leipzig was canceled and that's the way the cookie crumbled. There's a lesson out of this. I know I'm rambling a bit, but there is a lesson out of this to all my friends who are in group chats. I hope that they're a little more selective in what they say and have a little bit more of an understanding that whatever you have out there could get leaked no matter what. So this is just Leipzig getting unlucky. This is like getting a speeding ticket and, you know, you didn't know there was a cop tailgating you. That's life. Yeah. That's what I take out of that. But can't stress enough that I think it's good that he's doing well where he is.
Well, and I just think that maybe it's a recurring theme. If it's okay with the fans at home, maybe it's a recurring theme on the StreamYard show that we talk about what Brandon Leipzig's up to, how he's doing in Russia, maybe even potentially cover one of his games live.
Hey, dude, I don't know why you keep saying ideas. Just roll with the flow. You keep shooting ideas. We got to focus on what we're talking about now. And this isn't interactive. There's no fans to speak to. There's no comment board. No one can give their input. We can't assume that someone's communicating at their screen. Like, yes.
And do we on this show? Because I know some shows do and some don't. On this show, do we even listen to fan feedback? I don't think so, right?
No, we do what we want, but just to update people, this is pretty dated, but these have been some good topics. I know you want to talk about Spets. Spets had a good night.
Oh, Spets. I know he's old. He might be senile, but through his deteriorating physical and mental state, he had a vivid flashback to when he was 22 years old, and he just made that league look like a joke the other night. Scored a hat trick, all of them highlight reel goals. But especially, look at that hat trick goal where he pulled it and then danced it through the stick, gets it back around the horn, scores. Like, that was some EA Sports stuff you'd see back in 2005 or 6. Like, wow.
Well, I disagree with any comments about being senile or deterioration. This isn't some old politician. This is Jason Spezza. He's a former 95-point scorer. We picked him up for a reason. He's the same skilled player. He's obviously just age takes its course, but we put him on waivers. That's just for cap things. That wasn't personal or anything.
Yeah, it was just mathematics.
We just figured it out, and he was awesome. Every goal was electric. It was exciting, great for the fans.
Massive Spezza fan. I think that this game gives him a flashback to his fountain of youth. I think that he'll be surprising some people as long as we keep giving him the ice time and opportunity that he needs, because he's playing great.
Well, and that's Leafs hockey. Leafs hockey's exciting. It's offensive, and it's a really good mix of young players with skills and old players that can still contribute. So they're just draining every ounce of hockey they have left in them. That's what old guys should do if they have the chance. Go play in Toronto, because that's where the passion lies, and they've been good thus far, and we root for them ever since. But yeah, anything else?
I think that covers it for this week. Are we going to do it again next week?
Oh, we could do it again next week. I just hope it works. This has been a disaster technologically. I don't know if it's because of StreamYard or because of Watergate, but someone's on to us.
It seems to be working beautifully now.
Oh, it's been great now because we're on to them as they're on to us. But can't thank you enough for joining me. You brought some really good insights, some really good takes.
Thanks for having me. And I just want to say that, I think there's some, I've alluded to a few of them, but there are more that I'll talk about behind the scenes with Varno. And I think there's a few tricks that we have up our sleeve to entertain the fans at home.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Perfect.